Today we're sitting down with someone who has lived two deep lives, one on the PGA Tour and one on the flats of South Texas. Our guest spent years competing against the best golfers in the world, studying pressure, tempo, and how to stay calm when everything speeds up. Now he's applying that same understanding to fly fishing, especially sight fishing for redfish and trout in shallow water. This is the Wet Fly Swim Podcast, where I show you the best places to travel to for fly fishing, how to find the best resources and tools to prepare for that big trip, and what you can do to give back to the fish species we all love. PGA Tour veteran Phil Blackmar takes us into South Texas, and today you're going to find out how to keep your cast relaxed when shot matters most, what changes when you fish the flats from a drifting boat instead of pulling or sitting in one spot, why timing matters more than power, and how switching hands after a shoulder injury reshaped how he approaches casting. There are also some great stories that we talk about. He covered Tiger Woods. He watched Jack Nicklaus handle pressure, had some great conversations there and stories, and learning how to make quiet presentations to spooky fish and what happens when a shark decides to eat your cobia. This is a good one. Here we go. Let's get into it. Here he is, Phil Blackmar. How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks for having me. I look forward to this conversation.
Yeah, me too. I think, we've talked a lot about fly fishing and golf. Golf has come up a lot over the years, whether it's, we've had people talk about, which one's harder, casting a fly rod or swinging a golf club. You've won some PGA Tour championships, so you're at the highest level there, and then you're also a fly angler, so we're going to talk about that today. But maybe just take us back first on fly fishing. How'd you get into, have you been doing this a while, or what's your first memory of fly fishing?
No, I have. Actually, I've been an avid angler for pretty much my entire life. And a friend of mine, John Adams, we used to have a trip in the fall when the tour season was over, and we'd go down. I fished the flats in South Texas for redfish and trout sight fishing. And he showed up one year with a fly rod, and we made all sorts of fun of them and everything else. This was back in about 1992 or 3.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And we made lots of fun of them. And by 94, I had started fly fishing, and I gravitated to that, and that's pretty much all I do. I very rarely throw anything other than a fly rod now.
Okay. So fly fishing mostly for like redfish in the Texas area?
Pretty much. I've done a little bit of bonefish and other saltwater fishing in some different locales down in the Keys and Hawaii and of all sorts of places. A little bit of trout fishing. My freshwater experience, actually, I probably enjoy upstate New York. I've done some smallmouth fishing up there, wading in the rivers up there. I found that to be really fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's pretty cool because episodes all over the country, all over North America, and there's a species wherever you go. There's some species, whether it's like a sunfish or a bass or whatever. But
carp, who knows?
Or carp, yeah, carp are huge. Yeah, there's all sorts of species. But we have been talking a lot about redfish. In fact, we're trying to put together a trip down to Louisiana or maybe Texas to hit redfish because I haven't fished for them yet. So we're going to talk about that today. But I also want to hear about your golf background because I'm really curious to hear what that sounds like to be, kind of at that highest level. I'm guessing you got into golf as a young person, or describe that a little bit.
And my father was a very good player, and he got me started in the game when I was 7, and I played baseball and golf growing up. And I went to the University of Texas on a golf scholarship, but never had any designs on playing professionally. And my uncle talked me into trying it out after I'd gotten out of school, and I did. And it was a long journey to get to the tour, but 5 or 6 years later, after beginning that journey, I was able to make it to the PGA Tour and had a great first year. I was Rookie of the Year the first year, and I played 16 years on the PGA Tour, and I played another 5 years on the PGA Tour Champions. And then I also did 22 years, I think, of television as on-course reporter as well. So golf has been really kind to me.
Yeah, golf has been great. What is when you look at the golf, maybe going to that, the golfing and the casting, you're probably a good person to talk about, especially now because you've got an injury and you're casting left-handed now. Can you compare that? Like, what is harder? Is the golf swing, or if you're brand new to it, the golf swing or the fly cast? Which one's harder?
I think golf is without a doubt harder. There's more moving parts. There's more equipment. You have 14 clubs in your bag. There's all sorts of different things. Of course, there are on fly fishing too. I'm obsessed with fly casting and have been for 15 years. I throw every single day. But golf just has a few more moving parts. Fly casting and fly fishing, it doesn't take, like I've shown myself, I can't do anything left-handed. And in a matter of 6 weeks, I've gotten to where I'm a fairly decent fly caster left-handed. I don't know that I'm a great fisherman yet, but I'm a good fly caster. So I think you can pick that up quicker than you can golf.
You can. Okay. And staying on the golf a little bit, what was that like for you? Talk about the championship because you had some wins out there, right? Describe that a little bit.
I did. I won 3 times, all in playoffs on the PGA Tour. Birdied the first hole each time to win. I was only in 3 playoffs. I birdied the first hole and won all three. Won one time with the PGA Tour champions. And I mean, I've played with a lot of the best players in the history of the game. I played with Jack Nicklaus. I played with Tiger
Wow.
Woods. I played with all the best players. I also got to cover those players in doing television. So I've been able to see the game played the way it should be played. I've also been fortunate to watch some casters, Steve Rajeff. I've got to watch Steve some and know Larry Allen and some other guys that are on the current national team. So I've been blessed to be able to be around some people that are really good at both. And it's interesting drawing parallels between them. What the people are that are great at whatever they do, those parallels, I enjoy trying to figure that out.
Right. Yeah, that is a good, I mean, Jack and Tiger. I mean, when you look at those two, so did you play in the same events as when those guys were playing?
I did, yeah. I played towards the beginning of Tiger's career, and I played it towards the end of Jack's career. But actually, if you have a real quick story, I was
Yeah.
playing on my first Masters, and I was putting with Greg Norman on the putting green. It was the first time I'm there. The green was incredibly fast, and we had a 4.5-foot putt downhill. We're going, how would you hit this if it was on the last hole to win by one? And the green's as fast as a pool table.
Wow.
And I'm talking about, well, I'm going to fly it in there. I'm going to hit it hard. And Nicholas comes over, and I didn't know Jack at that point. He says, say what? And so I'm going to hit it hard. He says, why? And I said, because that's the best chance I have to make it. And so that's when it happens. I got Greg Norman, who was soon to be number one in the world, Jack Nicklaus, the greatest player of all time. And Jack looks at me and he says, well, let's see it. And now I'm a rookie there. I'm nervous can be. I miss it. It lips out. Let me try. He gets up there and he gets in there, and he taps this thing down the hill and he just barely breathed on it. And it seemed like it took 2 minutes to get to the hole, and it falls over the front edge and goes in. And the people that were watching start clapping. Well, that was 1986. He won his 6th green jacket at the Masters that year.
Oh, wow. 86.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
That was your rookie year, 86?
That was my rookie year, yeah, at the Masters it was.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and you kind of had the overlap, so you saw some of Tiger, which, I mean, he was kind of pushing, right? He was, you said Jack's the greatest, but Tiger was pretty close, right?
I think Tiger maybe played the best golf over a shorter period of time. Jack had the best career. He won the most majors.
Yeah.
And played against a longer stretch than Tiger. Yeah. Tiger had more injuries. But I think you could argue that Tiger might have been the best player over a shorter period. Tiger had an incredible short game, one of the best short games in the world.
Yeah.
Jack was phenomenal in other aspects. But the one thing they had in common, both of them, were they were tremendous competitors. Yeah. Absolutely tremendous competitors. That was what was fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like comparing Jordan versus LeBron, or maybe a similar thing, right? Like Jordan, different eras, and all that. But I mean, they're both great. They're both the greatest. It's hard to even compare, right? You just say they're in Tiger. And I mean, who else? I know there's been a lot. Do you keep up with it now with golf, like current day?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I just recently retired, so I've still been covering it for a long time.
Yeah.
It's interesting in today's game to see. It's going to be interesting to see what Scotty Scheffler does long term. Rory McIlroy is, without a doubt, one of the most talented, physically talented players ever to play the game. And it seems that he's maybe finally starting to figure out the mental side of it. But for a long time, he didn't quite have the mental side to a level that Jack or Tiger would. But from a ball striking perspective, he was incredible. And he has just recently now, it seems like maybe he's figured that part out. He has that piece of the puzzle a little better. So it'll be interesting to see what he does here in the latter half of his career. And Scotty Scheffler, just getting started, is on a tremendous pace. What will happen with Scotty? So I have to wait and see.
Yeah, wait and see. Nice. Well, and so it sounds like keeping you busy. You're out there fly fishing is redfish. Is that your species, the one that you're really focusing on?
Primarily redfish and spotted sea trout, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And what does that look like for you? Are you going out there? Do you have your own boat, your own gear? Are you going out with guides? Or how do you do that?
No, I have a boat. For me, the fishing experience is more than just catching fish. In fact, it's gotten to be probably, you don't even have to catch the fish. My most memorable fishing experience last year actually was I was down fishing area south of here, and I saw a giant trout going away from me at about 90 feet. And I just happened to have a 9-weight in my hand, and it was light, winter light. And I made this real quick, beautiful cast, laid it right out in front of this fish. And the fish didn't eat it, and in fact didn't even turn on it. But for me to make a quick cast that far, that accurately, that perfect loop, everything, that was the highlight of my season down in the summertime down there because of that. So I enjoy all aspects of fishing. I like to know where to fish, what time of year, on what tides, what time of day, how are they moving, what should you throw, what colors should you throw. I like the entire game. To me is
Hmm.
what I enjoy, and the fly casting is just kind of the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, that's great. Is that what, for somebody who hasn't been out there for redfish, is that what it is? I mean, it sounds like that's for you, just being out there. Maybe talk about that time of year. Do you like fish? Sounds like you fish throughout the year. Is there a time you really love to get after it?
Well, as anything else, it's gotten pretty crowded down here on the water,
Yeah.
and I think the fall is my favorite time of year to fish down here now because you have hunting season really kicks in, and so a lot of people get off the water, so you don't have quite as many people out there, and we get some really nice weather in the fall. Corpus, South Texas tends to be a pretty windy spot. If you can't throw in the wind, don't come to South Texas because it's most likely going to blow. And
Mm-hmm.
the spring can blow really hard. So the spring's kind of iffy. Great days, but not many of them. The summer can be really good, but it's really hot and really crowded. And then the winter is just iffy with the weather. So the fall is my favorite time of year.
Yeah, so fall. So pretty much, what is that? Is that kind of a September, October period? Is
Yeah,
that?
first September all the way through December. I mean, we have fish on the flats year round. It doesn't normally it doesn't get that cold down here. We've had some freezes and cold
Yep.
snaps, but usually, unless it's a severe freeze, it might push the fish off the flats for a couple days. But as soon as the sun comes out, they're going to move back up on the flats.
Yeah. Okay. And are you the type of person that's out there, like every day, all the time, or you kind of have, are you doing some other stuff with your time now that you're retired, right?
I have lots of other stuff that I get into. I have 8 grandkids
Oh,
for
wow.
one, so I occupy a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I fish a couple times a week, once or twice a week on average. I like to pick my days, and I go on the days that I want. But my real passion has become fly casting.
Yeah.
I just enjoy. For me, it was always golf. It's been trying to figure out the swing that would work under pressure,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a battle. I never did get comfortable with my golf swing. I'm almost 6'8". I'm
Oh,
shrinking now.
wow.
Gravity's winning. But at that tall, my swing just never felt very good. But it was a constant battle trying to figure it out. Well, when I quit playing golf, when I quit competing, that interest gravitated towards fly casting and trying to figure out everything I can about fly casting. And so there's so many variables involved and dynamically trying to, different types of loops and distance and curving it, or, most of your saltwater fishing is straight casts, where a lot of your freshwater trout stuff might be a lot of curving stuff
Yeah.
and
Right.
mends, and you get some of that in saltwater.
Unless you're doing some, the low, like the wind's blowing, you got to do some weird cast because of the wind, right?
Yeah, you might try it if a fish is moving straight away from you. If you can curve it around so the fly doesn't work right towards them, is an advantage. But generally, it's a pretty straight cast. But the dynamics of different weight rods, different weight flies, which
Mm-hmm.
lines, throwing in the wind, controlling your loop, throwing long distances. I got enamored for a while with some of the competitive distances these guys are throwing.
Yep.
So the whole thing kind of interests me.
That's right. Yeah. Steve Rajeff, you mentioned we've done quite a bit with casting because that's for a lot of people, it's a big struggle. And
Sure.
we've had his brother, we've had,
Right, Tim.
but we
Yeah.
haven't talked to Steve. He's going to be on here hopefully soon. But yeah, it's amazing the level those guys are at, because the Golden Gate Casting Club is a lot, they grew up around that, and we talk about that. Are you thinking with your casting, maybe getting into, I know you're retired and stuff, but trying to get into some competitions? I'm sure you're a competitive guy still.
No, I don't think so. First off, I just had my shoulder replaced,
Oh,
so
right.
we'll have to see how that comes around. But I know several of those guys who are on the team, and I would be in the senior division. I don't think so. I'm not quite in that league. I can throw pretty good, but these guys are throwing a 5-weight line, 135, 140 feet. I've
Yeah.
thrown over 120, but I'm
Wow.
not out where they are. So I just enjoy, but I enjoy watching those guys that can really do it. It's like anything else. I mean, you're like, how did they do that?
Right.
Right.
You did a lot of, when you were following golf, talk about that part where you retired from actually playing golf and then you're kind of doing the commentating stuff. What was that like for you? Was that pretty enjoyable? Was that similar, as much enjoyment as golfing itself?
Well, it was, it was because it's nerve-wracking. You can't,
Oh, yeah.
right now we're doing a show that Dick, you can go in and edit. If you say something you don't want to say, you can edit it out. Well, we were live.
It's not live.
And something jumps out of your mouth. You're like, you want to grab it and take it back, and you can't take it back.
Right.
But you're challenging the envelope, trying to be interesting, trying to say something that will catch somebody's attention. And so sometimes you say something, you're like, oh, God, can I have that back? And then the whole thing, I was on the course mostly. I did some studio stuff. I did a little stuff while I was in the tower, but mostly I'm on the course. So you're trying to figure out when to talk based on what
Oh.
you're hearing. It's all what you're hearing.
Oh, so you got the guys up in the so you're watching the golf game. You're at home watching it. You got the guys there doing the play-by-play, and then you're down in the
Right.
field on the course. Are you sitting down there just talking? Or are you going? Talk about your role during that whole position.
So there was a traffic the way it went. It went from the host, which would be you in this case, to lead analyst, and then to the guy on the ground. And so the host, if there was say Nichols getting ready to hit a second shot, the host would say Jack Nichols, 16th hole, second shot. And then I would pick it up next, and it would be my turn to talk, and I would say something. When I got done, then the lead analyst would jump in at that
Oh,
point, or we'd
right.
have a conversation, and then of
Gotcha.
course at that time the producer's in your ear telling you something else, or send it here, mention that. So you got all these different voices.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we did tape shots too. So you weren't watching the shot. You were remembering what happened and trying to
Oh,
time it out
wow.
just right too, which was a whole nother element. And so the whole thing of trying to listen to who's talking, be able to talk while someone's talking and listen to them at the same time, and then not say something that you want back was
Right.
a challenge. And that's what made it fun. That and getting to watch the best players in the game play the game.
Check out Montana Fly Fishing Lodge, a 2024 Orvis Endorsed Lodge of the Year finalist, where luxury meets adventure on 1.5 miles of private, wild, and scenic East Rosebud River frontage. Experience world-class fly fishing on numerous Yellowstone basin streams, gourmet cuisine made from locally sourced ingredients, and rustic luxury accommodations surrounded by breathtaking wilderness. You can book your all-inclusive Montana fly fishing adventure today and discover why they are the premier destination for unforgettable fishing experiences. Head over to MontanaFlyFishingLodge.com right now. Located in Boulder, Colorado, Intrepid Camp Gear is dedicated to designing and manufacturing the best and most highly engineered automotive camp gear on the market. Intrepid Camp Gear specializes in rooftop tents and aluminum cargo cases designed for skis, rods, hunting gear, and any other gear you may be hauling. Elevate your adventure with Intrepid Camp Gear right now. Head over to wetflyswing.com/intrepid right now. That's Intrepid, INTREPID, Intrepid Camp Gear. Do you have a memorable, one you watched, which was that you just can't believe you were there for? Is there? I'm sure you had a lot.
Well, probably, I was mostly cable. I wasn't doing networks, so a lot of the big events I didn't cover.
Uh-huh.
I covered Tiger's 82nd win in Tokyo.
Oh, no kidding.
I was there for that.
Was this after Tiger returned? Because he got injured, right? He had some accidents.
Yes, this was after he came back.
Because he came back and you were thinking maybe he's going to be and then it turned out the injuries just were too much, right?
It was too much, but he did come back and win. A lot of people thought he would never win again.
Right.
And he did. He's such an incredible competitor.
Yeah.
And able to do certain things. And so we were there watching. I was getting to cover that. We're watching Tiger, his mannerisms. I know Craig Perks and I, Craig won the Players' Championship. He was one other announcer, and we were watching Tiger get ready to tee off the first day. And on the range, as he's gotten older, he's not quite as stoic as he used to be.
Right.
So he's visiting with Pat Perez on the range, laughing. He comes over to the first tee, and I say, "Hey, Craig, look." And Tiger's over, and the bleachers behind the tee box were about 10 feet off the ground. And he's right up against the bleachers so no one could see him. And he's staring down the fairway with this blank, focused look on his face. And I looked at Craig and I said, "Perksy," I said, "look at that." I said, "How different is that guy than the guy 2 minutes ago standing over there on the driving range?" And Tiger had that ability to harness and touch into that. And a lot of it was due to, his mom taught him meditation. She's Asian. His dad was a ex-Marine.
Yeah,
Military ex-Marine and
Yep.
Special Forces and trained him in situational redundancy, that sort of stuff.
Oh,
And he
right.
worked with a sports psychologist growing up, a military sports psychologist, on a lot of, they did a lot of hypnotic kind of
Oh,
stuff
wow.
as well, and tapping into his feels and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he's this perfect blend of these different aspects of the mental side of the game. And it's fascinating to watch.
It is fascinating. Is that something? It's so the comparisons, right, to fly fishing. I mean, that's such a different thing than fly fishing, which we do talk about this, right? It's meditative. There are some
It's not
similarities.
that different.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Now, if you're on a stream and fish are rising, if you got to hit a spot where you're trying to curve it around a rock or a little branch or get it underneath something, Now you've got to be able to relax enough to make that shot without tightening up, right? And
Yeah,
throwing it into the tree.
right.
And then you got to tie a whole new tippet on or leader
Yep.
and,
You're
blah,
in the
blah,
zone. You
blah.
got to be in the zone.
You got to be in the zone. Now, on the flats, it's even more so because you see a fish, the fish is moving, you got to get it there in a hurry, and you got to make the perfect cast. So the tendency is to tighten up and not make that good
Right.
cast. And so it's just, it doesn't matter if you're a pitcher playing baseball, if you're playing golf, or if you're throwing a fly rod. The thing is to be able to relax and make that shot with focus, and it can be hard to do.
Yeah, we had. I heard. I can't remember if it was Jack Dennis. We had a guest on that said Ted Williams was a big angler, fly angler, and he said that the three hardest things to do in sports are to hit a baseball, to hit a golf ball, and to cast the fly rod. And he was obviously a fly angler, but I'm not sure. I mean, have you done any baseball? Any other sports?
Well, I grew up playing baseball and golf.
Yeah, you did.
And I loved baseball, and my youngest son played minor league baseball for
wow.
6 years. And so that's probably why my shoulder wore out, because I used to pitch batting practice to him and play catch with him for more than a decade growing up. And I'd throw batting practice for 2 hours straight, come home, and my right arm would feel like it was a foot longer than my left arm.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that contributed to some of my shoulder issues, that and throwing a fly rod every day.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I love baseball. And I would agree with that. Ted was a fabulous fly fisherman.
He was.
By all accounts, he was tremendous, yes.
Yeah. Do you remember him out there? I can't remember when he was out there. He was...
I didn't know Ted. I met him once. I didn't know him. He fished primarily down in the Keys, saltwater stuff mostly. And he loved chasing bonefish, tarpon, and that whole game down there. And from what I heard, he was a really, really good caster.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's something that probably a reason why you're a good caster. And my dad actually was a really great caster. He was also kind of a semi-pro. I feel like the athletic thing, right? Even with fly fishing, there's something to that. Like pro athletes tend to be really good fly anglers if they get into it.
I think that's true. What's interesting is why.
Yeah, why?
It because they're willing to practice more? I mean,
Right.
certainly I do. I mean, somebody who's played any sort of a sport at a high level has had to put a lot of time into it, so they're used to practicing. That could be part of it. Or is it their approach? Or they, how they've concentrated on something? Concentration is so difficult.
Yeah.
Most people, if you said, Dave, I want you to concentrate harder on the shot.
Right.
Well, you're going to tighten up, right?
Yeah, you are.
Well, that doesn't work. I got to loosen up. I can't do it. I got to loosen up. So, well, then you're not concentrating. So how do you concentrate and stay loose? And I was fortunate in college. We had a couple Olympic swimmers come work with us on the art of relaxed concentration.
Oh, wow.
And that's an oxymoron for most, right? They taught us how to concentrate harder and be more relaxed at the same time. And what a great skill to have.
No kidding. Right. So when the pressure's on, when you're in that last hole and you got to make the putt, you're not stressing out. You're kind of relaxed. Is that what happened? I mean, when you were there,
I'm stressed.
You're stressed,
but in a good way. You teach yourself, like Tiger in the situational training. If you think of a special forces, how they have redundant training in these situations over and over and over, so that it becomes kind of second nature. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
I think that the feelings you have, you train yourself to when you feel nervous, it's a good thing, not a bad thing. Hey, that's all. It means I can focus a little bit better. Yeah. If I can learn to control my nerves, I can focus better. So you practice in a manner that helps you to use that as a skill rather than have it work against you.
Exactly. Did you talk about you were on one of the wins you had? Were those close call? Were those things where you were really close, or were you blowing out the competition?
Well, no. All three of my wins of the PGA Tour were in playoffs in sudden death.
Yeah. Wow.
And I birdied the first hole all three times to win.
Right.
So I won on the first hole all three times. So it doesn't get any more to the point than that does.
So you went into the final round. Is it typically, you do 1836 holes, right?
We play 72 holes
72,
in a tournament.
Yeah.
And you play 18 holes the last day. In this case, we played 72 holes and we tied. My first win was in Hartford. And it was a three-way playoff, myself, Dan Pohl, and Jody Mudd. So we went to a par three, and I birdied that hole, and so I won. It's sudden death. Whoever wins the first hole wins.
That's it.
And so I did that three times. And when I won the Champions Tour, PGA Tour Champions, I had a really good up and down in the last hole to win by one shot there. So that was really close as well.
Yeah, up and down. What is that up and down?
I was in a bunker with a really tough lie, and I was able to get it up in one putt to save my par and win by one. So
gotcha. And who were you playing against on that round?
Jay Haas finished second, but Andy Bean, who is a tremendous fisherman, who unfortunately we lost Andy last year, Andy was right there. Tom Kite was right there.
Oh, okay, right.
Bernhard Langer was right there. There were a lot of players, really top players right there close.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's hard for me. I'm trying to, because I've never been in that moment, but I understand what you're saying about the anxiety. There are times where you get a little anxious and you got to know, hey, that's not a bad thing necessarily, right? Keeps you on your edge and keeps you focused, like you're saying.
It does. If you, like you say, it's something, I think some people have that naturally, that gift. Nicholas had that gift as a youngster. He talked about how he did that playing basketball growing up, but I think others learn to develop that skill.
Yeah, that's it. So now as you look out to what you have going, you've got some projects you're working on, but fishing wise, are you just going to stick with, like how do you take redfish to the next level for you? It feels like, you're just enjoying your time out there. Is that what it is for you these days?
It is. I tie all my own flies. And so that keeps me interested in it. And just trying to find water that's not run over by a bunch of by idiots in their boats out there. They're tower boats. They got all these tower boats these days in tournaments, and they run the flats looking for fish. And so they run over the top of everything. So trying to find maybe new water that people don't, I don't have to find, I don't need 50 shots in a day or a big school of fish to have fun. If I can go out and if I can go see 5 or 6 or 7 fish in less than 10 inches of water where you have one cast, that's got to be a really good cast. There's single fish. That for me, that's what's fun is that. And if I can find that, then I'm happy. And then from the casting standpoint, I just will, once I get back where I can with my right arm, but with my left right now, I just enjoy the different aspects of trying to, there's all sorts of little nuances to casting.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to, the timing of your haul. Are you going to haul late? Are you going to haul early? Are you going to haul short? You're going to haul long. I've got a short cast that I make where that I will take the rod, and the thing that makes a fly land loud is if you throw overhand, that the rod tip will kick down. Well, the fly is going to follow that. It's going to kick down also. So if you can throw to where the rod tip doesn't recoil,
so
where it's
softer.
just soft.
Yeah.
So the way I do that in saltwater for those quiet short shots is I will load the rod with the right hand. As soon as I feel it loaded, I'll just loosen my grip and let go with my right hand, and I'll control the speed with my haul and the length of my haul with the left. And you can just feather that thing in there like that, where it just tinks down really quiet.
Yeah, you can leave it, let it go, or take it back. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So little nuanced kind of things like that. Throw in an inverted cast. How good are your inverted cast? There's different things like that. Or I enjoy messing with that.
And what is the inverted cast? What is that exactly?
Your loop's upside down. The fly is underneath the fly line, so above it. Yeah, and so that way the fly, when it goes out, instead of kicking over and down, it goes out and kicks up.
Oh, wow.
So now it really comes down soft.
And how do you do that? Is that more, how do you do that inverted cast?
Well, you can throw it overhead, but the easiest way is more sidearm.
Yeah.
And if you take it sidearm, if you were to make just and keep the rod in the same plane sidearm, the loop's going to be horizontal.
Yeah, horizontal.
It'll just be a sidearm, it'll be a horizontal loop. But if you take it and as you give you a little power snap at the end, if you will roll the rod under, if you turn your hand under, the loop, the tip of the rod will now work under, and the fly line will follow, and the fly leg will be below your line.
Gotcha. And then it'll come up, and you do that. When would you do that cast?
When you're trying to make a really, really quiet presentation. They've gotten so spooky with all the boat traffic. The fish have gotten tremendously spooky. And so if you can take it down there, right in there, right next to them with just the lightest of noise, the noise will attract them if it's not too much. And so it's a game of, and plus it comes in low that way too. They've gotten to where that, they can see up in the air.
They're
in 8 or 10 inches of water. And so they'll see something coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking over their shoulder. Who's going to eat me, And so if you get that fly to come in really low, they don't see the fly either. So low, quiet presentation is really important.
So that's a big tip. What else would you, for spooky fish on the flats for redfish, what else would you say?
Well, you go as light as you can with your fly line, because you want the line to land quietly on the water. And so, it's easier to throw an 8 or 9 weight, but the line's heavier. So the line's going to have a little slap when it lands. And so to throw, say, a 5 weight and the wind's blowing 15, well, how are you going to make a 70-foot cast into the wind with a 5 weight? Well, you better be able to control your loop. And really, more than that, it's not as much your loop It's more, if you get your fly leg to be perfectly straight, even if the loop is bigger, the fly will penetrate the wind just fine.
Yeah.
You can throw, if you throw a small loop, but the fly leg, where the fly kind of releases up a little bit, then the wind's going to kill it.
Yeah, you got to keep it tight or not.
Yeah, straight. It's all about a straight fly leg all the way to the fly.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, you can throw in the wind. And so for me down here, I do a lot of drift fishing, sight fishing, drift fishing. This is an interesting game because now the boat's moving pretty fast. The fish are moving. And you don't have a guide back there that's going to stop the boat and say, okay, make 3 false casts and go.
No.
It's like there's that fish, and you got almost no time to get it there. How are you going to get it there that quick and quiet? And so it becomes a game of speed also.
That's cool.
And that brings me to the most impressive cast I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I was just learning to fly cast. I was down in Doral in southern Florida playing in the PGA Tour event down there. Steve Rajeff had come in to do this outing where he was casting a golf ball with a 15-foot fly rod with a breakaway line against John Daly, who was going to hit a golf ball, and they're having a distance championship.
What?
And Ray Jeff threw a golf ball, 3 casts in a row. He threw it 280 yards.
Really?
Unbelievable. And Daly beat him. Daly hit it just a little over 300 yards. But anyway, so
what did Steve do now? Describe that again. What did Steve do with the golf ball?
He had a 15-foot fly rod.
So a big giant
surf rod,
a big 2-handed rod or something like that.
Yeah, where you make the big circle kind of thing they do. And he had a short distance line and then a breakaway tippet, so that he would throw it and then that short distance line would come taut.
Gotcha.
And then it would just spack and it would go.
Oh wow! So he was casting his ball. It was shooting off.
And it's shooting off.
Oh,
he
man.
threw over 280 yards 3 times.
And what is it? What is a good hit? Yeah, John Daly was one of the biggest hitters of all time, right?
John Daly, I think, hit it at that time, and we're talking, this is back in the early 90s, and John hit it like 300 or something to beat him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everything goes further now, but it's
it does.
But at the time, that was the deal. And so anyway, I saw Steve. I'd only been fly casting for about a month, and the wind was blowing about 20 miles an hour. And I had an 8-weight with just a piece of yarn on it, and I'm trying to throw downwind. And I'm like, hey, Steve, how do you throw this thing downwind anyway? You got to be able to throw it backwards back into the wind. How do you do that? And he says, well, let me see it. So he takes my, he was with Loomis at that time. He takes my Loomis fly rod. He peels all the fly line off well into the backing. And about 100 feet away from us was a 18-wheeler that was our equipment trailer where they would work on your golf clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
And the door was open on the back of it. The door was open. This is over 100 feet away, straight downwind. He takes that and he holds that piece of yarn and he flips it backwards once up there. He throws it forward once. He throws it back one time. And he shoots that entire fly line into the backing, out of the rod tip with this perfect loop right into the door of that trailer. And to this day, it remains the most incredible fly cast I've ever seen in my life.
100 feet away,
how
right?
the heck he did. Yeah, a quick cast. I mean, just a quick cast.
Yeah.
I mean, just
like
incredible.
boom, boom. Yeah.
Yeah, that was tremendous to see that.
Yeah, he's still, I think, pretty much the greatest fly caster in the world. I mean, there's been a few people that have come close and there's been some interesting stories, but he's, I don't know. What do you think it is about him? Obviously practice and stuff. Does he have the physical build for it or?
Well, you listen to people talk about it. He's built like a fire hydrant. He's super strong and super quick, and is a bigger guy, but he's super quick. And when you watch, he doesn't have all the stuff today. And the distance stuff has gone to what they call a 170. It's a much longer cast, and actually the distance guys will take a step. They'll walk into it and they throw off the other foot.
Oh wow!
Steve was conventional, West Coast style with a short stroke. And he would just hammer it hard and quick at the start.
Yeah.
And people I've asked, I've watched Steve, but the people I've asked, okay, why is Steve so great? And they'll say he has an incredible sense of timing in his stroke. His timing is perfect. And if you think about it, throwing a fly rod at that level really does come down to timing. You just have an instant where you've got to hit it at that right moment where everything's lined up just right to get that thing to go. And that's what they say. His timing is just incredible.
His timing.
But it has changed like anything else. It's changed. It's a different stroke now some of the guys are using around the world. Different game.
There's a place where every bend in the river feels like it's been waiting for you, where the air smells of sage and pine and trout rise beneath the shadows of the Tetons. That place is visit Idaho's Yellowstone Teton territory, the heartbeat of fly fishing in the West. From the legendary Henry's Fork to the winding South Fork of the Snake, this is where big fish and bigger stories live. You'll find endless waters, welcoming towns, and locals who still wave as you drive by with drift boat in tow. This is your starting point for world-class fly fishing, year-round recreation, and wild country that stays with you long after you've packed up your gear. Check it out right now. That's wetflyswing.com/Teton, Teton. Visit Idaho for yourself and support this podcast while you go. On DeMark Lodge offers a world-class experience with one of the finest rainbow trout and brown trout fisheries in the world. Their family-owned and operated Missouri River Lodge offers comfortable accommodations, delicious home-cooked meals, and personalized service that make you feel like family. Days on the water are capped off by appetizers, beverages, dinner, and stories on the back deck and around the campfire. Book your stay for an unforgettable fly fishing adventure where memories are made and the fish stories are real. You can head over right now to wetflyswing.com/ondemark. That's ONDEMARK on DeMark right now to book your magical Missouri River trip. Yeah, I think I saw a video you were casting with. I'm trying the name. There was a casting instructor we've had on, or he lives overseas. Do you know who I'm talking about? I think you were on.
Well, I was on. I did a couple of videos with Paul Arden.
Yeah, Paul Arden. Yeah, Sexy Loops.
Uh-huh.
Sexy Loops. Yeah, we had Paul on. It was great because Paul's one of the great casters in the world as well.
Truly.
Well, talk about that. How did that video? What were you doing on that video? How did that come to be?
Oh, we've done a couple. One of them we did was on the mental side of competing, because Paul is a competitive caster, and his website is built around high-level casting. I mean, they do a lot. There's a lot of stuff on there about instruction and getting people into casting and how to teach beginners or the novice casters. But there's also stuff there. You can find conversations between some of the best casters in the world and talking about very high-level stuff as well. And so I've enjoyed trying to take my game to another level. Paul's been very generous with his time in helping me, and so we've established this relationship long distance. And he is a really, really accomplished caster, and it's interesting. On his site, he has the videos where he explains all these different casts, short freshwater casts, longer casts, just an incredible bank of videos that are open to anybody. It's open to the public. It doesn't cost you anything. It's tremendous. But an interesting guy living on a houseboat in Malaysia.
I know.
It's an interesting guy.
It's a cool story. We hear all sorts of stories about this, and fly fishing is, it's probably, again, the passion, right? I think that's what we hear a lot about, but maybe all sports are like that. You have these people, but man, I just interviewed a guy who's, living in his car, living in his van, like half the year in his Honda Odyssey, so he can fish every day, so he can wait, you know what I mean? Like there's all, and it's like, hey, that guy is living the dream, you know what I mean? Because like when you find what you love and you can do it every day, that's kind of what it's all about. So,
it is, absolutely.
So the tech thing is interesting to me too, because fly rods, we had this story about, you probably know about this, but fly rods started back in the day in the 80s, and they were kind of softer rods and not as fast. And they got faster and faster and faster as the time went on. And also fly lines got kind of tried to keep up with it. And there's this weird thing going on. Now rods are pretty fast, but we've heard that people that are winning championships now, the casting stuff, are actually fishing rods from the 80s because they're the better action. But the tech has changed, right? Talk about the tech in fly fishing. Then you also have the tech in golf. Did it follow a similar trajectory where things got changed a lot from now versus say the 80s when you started or when you were out there?
It has. They follow a similar trajectory in that people making fly rods are doing it to make money. Companies that are trying to sell them.
Yep.
And so they're trying to make something. If you're going to sell it, hey, I got the newest fly rod. Mine goes further than the one that you're throwing. Or mine's easier to throw than the one you're throwing. If I'm hitting a golf ball, my club hits it further than your club hits it. My club hits it straighter.
The Big Bertha. I remember the Big Bertha.
The Big Bertha came out. The Callaway Big Bertha came out back around 2000 or in the late 90s. So golf has followed this trajectory where everything's about distance. And so the balls they don't spin nearly like they used to. The clubs are high launch, no spin. So the game has changed where it used to be more of a combination. Distance has always been an advantage, but it was really hard to harness in golf, very difficult to harness. And so there was always this nice balance between control and feel and touch and distance. Well, that has shifted now more towards distance. Fly casting, if you think about it, it's done the same thing. Fly rods, they've gone to faster and faster rods where you have to use a heavier and heavier line to throw it. So, like if you look at the weights, 7 weight's supposed to be 185, grains roughly. I think the first 30 feet of the head, the 30 feet ahead, and now the rods have got so much stiffer and faster. You really need that 7-weight line, unless you're really a really good caster, you really need to throw more of an 8-weight line. And so now the lines have started getting heavier as well.
Right. But now the line companies now, instead of that, they'll have a 7-weight line, or they're actually, they're changing the way they do it too.
Sure they are. They're following suit. So you might say, hey, man, I'm throwing the 7-weight. This is great. So, yeah, but that's an 8-weight.
Exactly.
So what do you mean? Well, it's not a 7-weight. It's an 8-weight. So it has all changed. But for me, fishing the flats, a really fast rod, if you're going to make a really quick cast and some wind, is probably the way to go. But I've grown to really like a little bit more of a moderately fast rod now.
Okay.
I had got my first glass rod last year.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed throwing that glass rod. Really a lot of fun.
What was the glass rod? What company was that?
It's a CTS.
Oh, CTS. Okay.
Blank. Yeah, it has CTS blank made. It's what's the turbo?
Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar with that one.
What it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a really nice blank, and it's an 8-weight. I could throw it a long ways, and it's fun, but it is heavier, and it's obviously a lot softer.
It's heavy, and it has a lot of flex. Pretty like
it does,
softer.
Yeah. It does, but I think when you learn how to use that flex, it's really cool what you can do with it.
Yeah.
But you do need time. It's a slower stroke. You need time for the flex to develop and then throw it. And so for drift fishing, it's maybe not the best weapon.
Oh, drift fishing being when you're drifting down and you have to make that quick shot.
Yeah, maybe not the best weapon to do that, but I really enjoy that. And what that got me to realize was that overall, I like a little bit softer rod. Not a soft rod, but a softer rod. And so I've moved away from the super fast rods. The direction this industry has gone, I've gone back, like what you were saying, I've gone backwards a little bit in time.
Yeah, and the drift is interesting too. Do you see a lot of people doing that? I haven't heard much about that. It sounds like a fun way to do it, but your boat's drifting with the wind and the current.
Not many people do it fly fishing because you have to be so quick. Most of the fly fishermen down here will wade or take a guide and pole or take turns poling so that they have time to make that cast. There's only a couple of us down here I know of that will get out and just drift. Wind's blowing 20, that boat's moving pretty quick.
Yeah.
And, then you will go to a little heavier line so that you can get it out there really fast. And fish won't be as spooky with the wind blowing that hard.
Okay.
But it's a difficult game.
Yeah.
And most people, I don't think, really want that much difficulty. They find fly fishing already hard enough. They don't need to make it more difficult.
Exactly. Yeah. There's some species that are, we see that, you kind of do a species, trout or whatever, and then you step it up to something harder. You change things, you make it harder.
Right.
Have you thought about doing, as a tarpon, some of these other species? Have you looked at those and really, you have any trips thinking about in the future?
I went down to Mexico last year. We had some bad weather and it didn't really pan out. Like I said, I've caught bonefish both in the Keys and in Hawaii on a fly rod, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But, I'll be honest with you, Dave, I enjoy, there's a lot. Texas is a big coastline.
Yeah, it's huge.
I know about 100-mile stretch of it. I know really, really well.
Right.
But there's some stuff down South Padre that I haven't fished that I want to start going down there and learning it. I want to take my boat and go spend 4 or 5 days down there at a time and start learning it, maybe up the coast a little bit further and learn that. I think I enjoy that more than going someplace and doing a guided trip. I enjoy being in charge a little bit more.
You got a pretty cool place. You got a boat. You're in this place.
Yeah.
You're right on the Gulf Coast, right? You're pretty close to it?
Yeah. I am
right there.
Right on the coast.
I can imagine. I haven't been down there yet. We're trying to get a trip, but I can imagine if it was me with the boat, I'd be cruising out there, maybe taking a siesta somewhere on a nice little place.
Yeah.
What's your day like out there when you get on your boat?
You're not going to want to go with me then because I'm hardcore. I don't stop for lunch. We're
that's awesome.
And that's it. It's all hardcore. But, it's also, there's redfish and trout is my primary thing. But in the fall, the cobia, the ling migrate through.
Cobia.
And so we got about a 6-week period there, a 2-month period where we have nearshore oil wells. And when the weather's right, when the wind's not blowing 100, you can go out and you can work the oil wells with a trolling motor and look for them, and they'll come up and you can sight cast at them.
Wow.
And so, yeah, those are pretty fun to throw at too. I
Yeah.
haven't caught a real big one yet. The biggest one I've caught's about 26, 27 pounds, but
Jeez.
I'm hoping to catch. And it's pretty fun because I'll throw for those, I'll throw a 10 or a 12 weight because you're throwing around the rig and you hook that fish and you've got to stop him immediately. And if you can survive the first attempted run, if he gets you in the rig, then
Yeah.
you're going to lose your fly line. You're going to lose. Who
Oh,
knows what all
wow.
you're going to lose. But if you keep him out of the rig, then he'll turn to go the other way, and then you can just take your time.
Yeah.
Now, I was down there. The biggest one I had on, I got him away from the rig, and so my son's fishing with me. I'm just out there taking my time playing with him, right? And he got up by the boat, 2 or 3 times, and I could tell he's tired, so I'm bringing it up last time. I said, Mark, get the phone ready to take a picture of this fish. We get it up here. And I'm pulling it up, and all of a sudden there's this, I was fishing out of my shallow water boat, so the sides of my boat were only about 18 inches tall,
Oh,
15,
wow.
18 inches
Holy
tall,
cow.
very low. And all of a sudden there's this big commotion and water flying everywhere, the back of the boat. And I glance back there and I see this fin that's about, I don't know, about an
Jeez.
18-inch tall fin, and a big bull shark had come up and eat my
Oh.
entire cobia in one bite. I had a cobia on that was in the 30-pound range, and it didn't take it behind the head. It ate the whole thing.
Just ate the whole thing.
Gone. Whole thing gone, one bite.
Wow.
That's how big that shark was.
That's amazing. And you guys are fishing right around these oil rigs out there?
Oil rigs, yeah. We're just a couple miles offshore.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then the fish kind of come to those because it's a safe place or something? Or?
They'll migrate through, and there's structure. There's not much structure in the Gulf of Mexico, so they'll go there, and there's food, there's places for them to hide or rest or whatever as they're working their way back down south for the winter.
What other species are you guys are out there that you could potentially be catching?
Well, potentially with tarpon. We have tarpon here in Texas, and there were more tarpon around this year than we can remember. They used to have the tarpon rodeo here. Actually, Roosevelt came down and caught tarpon.
Oh, no kidding.
Down here, yeah, back in the day, he did. But the tarpon, the Texas tarpon, had a tough time. They got netted out for a while, but they're making a comeback, and they're doing really well. So you can fish for tarpon. We get big jacks. If you want to fish in the Gulf, we got big jacks.
Yep.
Sometimes you can get some snapper to come up on top. You can chum them up and throw at them, or Dorado, that sort of thing as well. In the bays, it's mostly redfish and trout. Black drum, a lot of people fish for black drum.
Oh, yeah.
You can throw for sheephead as well.
And sheephead, right.
Yeah, you got sheephead also in the bays. If you go down South Padre, you've got they'll catch snook down there in South Padre as well. And their tarpon fishery is a little more consistent down there also.
Yeah, and South Padre is kind of on your way towards Mexico?
Yeah, it's not closer to Mexico.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'm about 150 miles from there, something like that.
Oh, you are? So you could you go down to that area? Can you even fish? How does that work down as you get into Mexico? Are there places you could actually...
I don't know that you want to go across the border or how you get across the border, but you stay on this side of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some beautiful places to fish down there.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, this has been a great conversation. I want to take it out of here in a bit here, and I had a few other questions to ask you. One was on, again, we've been talking about this golf, and because you've kind of been in both of those worlds. What if somebody let's take it to the golf first, and then we'll get into the fly fishing tips. I did a little golfing in my life. I was not a great golfer, but we had this period where I did it, and my brother's really into it, my dad, all that. Somebody that wanted to get back into it, what are you telling them? What do you think is the best thing that they could do if they want to get back into golf? Like, me, myself, and want to get good at it. Is just practice? Do you take a lesson?
Well, if you want to get good at it, start small and work your way bigger. The problem with golf is that, imagine you were going to learn to ski.
Yeah.
Would you go to the Black Diamond first?
No,
you kill yourself. You go to a green slope somewhere, you get a couple lessons, go to the green slope, and you master that stuff first. Golf, master your short game. Half your shots or more that you hit are going to be around the greens.
Yeah.
So work on your chipping and putting. And the chipping stroke and pitching stroke is a miniature golf swing. So it's easier to work on your golf swing, working on that. And as you're doing that, you work on your hand-eye coordination, control on the club, all these sort of things that are so important.
Yeah.
And then as you develop the longer part of the game, be sure if you work with somebody that is somebody that takes what you have and develops it, not somebody that says, no, you need to look like this guy, look like that guy.
Yeah.
The cookie cutter thing. You don't want that. There's like Mac O'Grady was a very interesting guy. He played the tour for a number of years. And Mac said one of the brightest things I ever heard, he says there's different ways to swing the club and each way has its own set of rules. So the secret was not necessarily to change the way you swing it. The secret was to learn the rules that govern the way you swing it. And you do that with a little practice, a little experimentation. Don't be afraid to experiment. And get a set of eyes on you that can help you, but wants to work within your own your own thing. But the short game, certainly start there and stay there, because that's how you score.
That's it. And I guess there's probably overlap again to fly casting, because a similar thing, fly casting, is that true that everybody's a little bit different and you got to get your casts? You're not going to have the exact same cast as the next fly caster, right? Or what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, yes, but not as much as golf. I think you can throw in different planes, but the basic rules, that the Gamels came up with.
Yeah, straight tip.
You got to have a straight tip and, straight and level tip to have that straight fly leg. So that limits a little bit how far out there you get, but you can have do you want to use wrist or do you not use wrist?
Right.
I can sit there and throw all wrist or no wrist. And there is no right or wrong way. I think that throwing no wrist to me is the hardest thing to do. I find that really, really, really difficult.
Yeah.
So if I was going to start in fly casting, see, I've done this left-handed the last 6 weeks.
Right. Yeah. You've been doing it. Talk about this journey you've had here. Right.
So I started with a 5 weight because it's light enough that I could feel it and I could control it. And, the main thing I started out first was just making loops. Just a short distance, 30 or 40 feet, just working on making loops and having a straight fly leg, which is a straight rod tip and no tailing loops. Don't throw a tail, and that's all timing. It's just straight rod tip and timing, and work on that. And then gradually starting to lengthen it out just a little bit, and exploring the difference between rotation and translation. And translation being the back and forth motion that your hand makes, rotation being the rod rotating around a fixed axis. Basically, it's rotating on an arc.
Yeah.
And exploring how to use those two together, which for me, a lot of teachers, or a lot of people would teach you where it's primarily translation with no wrist. I find that so hard to do. There's no touch in that. So I want a little translation, and as the cast gets longer, I have more and more translation. But I do have wrist in it as well. And so that's been the thing for me, is starting short. Again, same thing. Start short, work on a good loop and a straight fly leg, and then gradually lengthen it out. And then work on a double haul. And people would tell you sight fishing, they'll say, well, you don't need to throw far. Well, I'm going to tell you what, it's like golf. No, you don't have to hit it far either, but it's a heck of an advantage if you can.
It is. Right. Yeah. If that fish is out there at 10 more feet, you're going to be better if you can cast further.
Well, the same rules that allow you to throw it further are the same things that allow you to throw in the wind or to throw a bigger fly, right? Same thing.
Yeah. So if it's really raging at you, those skills are going to help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. And so how has that been for you? So you're casting left, you got this shoulder injury that you're working on. Have you been out there fishing like for redfish with your left hand?
Well, no, I can't use my right arm yet because I had a total shoulder replacement. So this thing I'm not allowed to do anything with it. So, and to fall would be the worst thing. So to get on a boat right now would be the worst thing I could possibly do. So I haven't been fishing, but I am throwing at targets now.
Yeah.
I'm throwing at targets, and my distance, I've got some for not hauling. One thing I've learned, I think, is that I need to spend more time right-handed throwing without a haul. All I ever do is haul. I haul on everything.
Yeah, everybody, right? You haul every time.
And going left-handed, I can't haul because I can't use this shoulder. And I have gotten to where I can throw. My back cast isn't that great. I'm not strong enough to really do that really well going back. But my forward cast, I'm throwing pretty good distances with a really nice fly leg
without hauling,
with no haul. And I'm thinking, I need to learn to do that when I can throw with my right hand again. I need to do that also there. So I think I'm learning some things there. And I'm also learning, John Waters is a champion fly caster down in Australia who's done some work. He's been on FFI and talking about some work that he's done for competitive distance casting and making it similar to javelin casting, or throwing a javelin and using the body, how the body sequences up. And so in this no haul throwing left-handed, I have started using my body a little bit for longer casts. And it's pretty incredible how well it works. But when you take the haul out of it, how much more speed I can get with getting the body action going properly.
Right.
So I've learned some things I think that will help me when I go back to right-handed casting.
Wow. That's awesome.
Plus now, if I'm on the flats, I don't have to throw a back cast at a fish if the wind's across the wrong shoulder. I just try to throw it left-handed.
It's funny because we do a lot of spade casting too. We have a lot of steelhead, and the two-handed cast is a thing where they, if you're right-handed, you kind of use your top hand. But they say if you're really good, you should learn your left-hand top too. You should be able to do both.
Yeah.
And some of us, me included, haven't quite got to that level where we're at the pro level.
Right.
But it's one of those things where we're always working on it. And I feel like, do you feel like that with your fly cast? You're always, even though you're at this higher level, you're always you can get better?
Always. Yeah. And I taught for a while with a Hall of Fame instructor named Jim Flick.
Oh, yeah.
Tremendous guy, a
Huh.
wonderful, wonderful guy. And Jim used to say golf is a lifetime of problem solving.
Mm.
And I think you could say the same thing about casting. It's very similar to that. If your timing's not just right or something, your line's not laying out perfectly straight, or it's not doing exactly what you want. It's a lifetime of problem solving, and that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, it does. What was it like for you in golf? You had this career. How did you know when you were ready to, retire and get out of the actual playing?
Um, for me, it just got to be, supporting my family playing golf.
Yeah.
And golf, people like to think that, hey, if you can shoot par better, then it must be easy. And it's not. And
No.
even at the tour level, it's not easy at all. And it just got to be emotionally just really difficult to keep fighting that battle because it was a
Yeah.
battle.
Because you're getting older. It's not getting any easier to shoot the
Well,
same score.
yeah, and trying to be competitive
Yeah.
and shoot those and do that. And
Right.
so I was very fortunate when it was finally time. I just need to do something else.
Yeah.
Until I really lucked into the TV thing.
Yeah, and the TV thing was right there, so you had a great opportunity.
Yeah, I didn't know it. My manager at the time at ESPN was trying some people out. I said, "You want to try out?" I said, "For what?" He says, "TV." I'd never thought about it. And
Right.
so I was very fortunate to kind of get a foothold in and get to be able to do some of that. And
And is that who you worked with? Was it ESPN for a while?
I started with ESPN. I went to USA and primarily did Golf Channel and PGA Tour and a little bit of a few shows for CBS and NBC, but primarily
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So you kind of knew. And then you had this. How long was the career in the commentating, as a
It
commentator?
was, I think, 20 or 22 years, I think, all told. I mean, there were breaks in there, yeah.
So huge. So almost like a full career there.
It was. I've had a couple careers, all in golf. So,
Gotcha.
like I said, I've been very, very fortunate. It's afforded me a lot of opportunities that I probably would not have had otherwise.
So the final question for you here is, if you look back, say your 25-year-old self, I'm not sure how old you are now, but what would be that advice as a 25-year-old that you would give to yourself, knowing what you know now?
Be a couple things, actually. Number one would be to enjoy the people, take advantage of the people a little bit better, get to know them a little bit better, the chances, the people I've been around,
Yeah.
get to know them a little bit better. I think that be nicer to myself. I wasn't always very nice to myself.
Oh, you mean
I
like
was the
putting too
first
much?
one. I just, if things didn't work out, I'd put myself in front of the butt kicking machine and kick myself in the butt too hard. And, it's not necessary. You're already doing everything you can do. It's
Yeah.
not, there's no reason to do that because you're already trying as hard as you can. So I think those are the two things and try to find a way to appreciate it a little bit more as you go. I got so caught up in trying to stay out there, stay competitive. I wasn't one of the top players, but I was able
Yeah.
to play for 16 years, which is
Right.
pretty cool. But a lot of times it was a grind just trying to keep my status and stay there, that I didn't take time to enjoy it as much as I should have.
Right. How hard is it to get there? I think of like the NBA, all these professional sports where there's only a few hundred people really that make it to the. Is golf a similar thing that how many people
Very
make
much
it?
so.
Yeah. So when you're doing that for 16 years, you're one of one.
Not
It's
very
almost
many.
a better chance to win the lottery, right, than to make it to the pro.
Yeah, it really is. I don't remember the numbers. I actually did a little study one time. I don't remember what the numbers were, but think of it, the PGA Tour is a world tour. Everybody around the world wants to get to the PGA Tour because until they live, they play for more money than anybody else. That might have changed it a little bit, but you probably got 5,000 legitimate players around the world trying to get to the tour. Each year, the way it works now, it used to be a qualifier once a year for the tour, and 50 guys would get their tour card. So of those 3,000 to 5,000 entries around the world, it would get whittled down to 50.
Wow.
And of those 50, on average, 6 or 7 of those 50 would keep their status and stay on tour for more than a year or two.
Crazy.
So annually, you're talking about an addition of 6 or 7 players from around the world getting on tour and staying there. Some years maybe 10, but that's it.
Yep.
So you're trying to be one of 10 players from around the world to get out there and stay there.
Wow.
That's what it boils down to, per year, every year.
Amazing.
And then you're trying not to be one of those guys that those 10 guys kick off.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. And so I guess tell me that. How were you able to do it for 16 years? What was your secret?
I had a good short game.
Yeah, you did. You had a good
It was
short game.
a short game. I wasn't afraid to work and grind at it. I wasn't afraid of the moment, of the pressure. I enjoyed the pressure. So you just fight it. You do the best you can and you just try to figure it out.
Yeah, awesome. Well, this has been great, Phil. I really appreciate you shedding some light on this. We haven't done a ton of golf episodes like this, but we have been talking to Mark O'Meara. He's a big fly fisherman as well.
Oh, he's a fantastic fly fisherman.
Yeah.
Have you had him on your show?
No, we're going to get him on soon, so we'll hopefully get him on.
Okay. Well, be sure if you do.
Yeah.
Have him send you a video of his fly room, his fishing room.
Oh, okay.
It is amazing.
Really? Yeah.
It's more impressive, I think, than any fly shop you might ever walk in.
No kidding. Oh, cool.
It is incredible. Get him to show you a picture of that.
We'll do that.
It's phenomenal, yeah.
Yeah, because Mark was obviously a good golfer himself, right? He was out there. You probably played with him.
Oh, yeah. Mark's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame, exactly.
Yeah, he's Hall of Famer, yeah. Hey, he won the Masters and the Open the same year, yeah.
Right. Good stuff.
Tremendous player, yeah. Tremendous player and a very, very good fisherman. He loves steelhead fishing.
He loves steelhead. That's right.
Yeah.
He's a big steelhead angler. No, it's been good. I mean, this podcast is all about, we've done every species you can imagine. And with I think we're over 900 interviews now. I've talked to a lot of, you know what I mean? A lot of anglers. So It's been pretty exciting, but it's good to connect with you. I really appreciate you shedding light on everything today.
Sure. Anytime. Appreciate you having me.
You can follow along with Phil on Facebook. Say hi, reach out to Phil, let him know you heard this podcast. If you're interested, we are going to be doing some more good stuff on Wet Fly Swing Pro. If you haven't yet checked it out, this is your best chance to take the conversation deeper, get first access to trips, and just connect with the community of the Wet Fly Swing community. You can do it right now. Also want to let you know, YouTube, if you haven't already, this podcast actually is now on YouTube. We are doing some select podcast episodes where there is video. And if you want to watch the full video, go to YouTube right now, Wet Fly Swing, click that subscribe button, and you'll get notified when we get new video content over there. That would be amazing. We're not changing anything on what we do with the podcast here. It will all continue to be audio on Apple and Spotify like we've been doing. I feel like that's still the best way to get it out there because you can listen on the road, you can download, do all that good stuff. But if you want to check out the video, and I would love to hear, if you think that's something you'd love to hear more of, send me an email, dave@wetflyswing.com, and just say video in the subject line. Let me know if you want to see more of that, and we'll put that more of that together for you. I want to give a shout out. Our next trip, we are actually heading for pike. If you're interested in pike fishing, this is definitely one of the big species we haven't done yet, and we're going to be putting together a trip there. So if you want to get more information on this, send me an email. And I want to thank you today for stopping in and hanging out to the very end here. Hope you're having a good morning, good afternoon, or evening, and hope to see you on that next episode. We'll talk to you then.